Right, ladies and gents, just wait before you click off the video. This is actually quite important because Donald Trump is saying he's obligated to sue the BBC for $1 billion. Now, the BBC is the British broadcaster, right? So it's a publicly funded channel. Publicly funded, they kind of force you into paying it. You own a TV, you must pay a TV license. Yeah, that's a thing in the UK. You actually don't have to. You can simply opt out by just not watching BBC programmes or live TV, in fact. So there are ways around it. You don't have to pay for it, but do your own research, obviously, independently. I haven't watched TV or had a TV licence for over a decade. So you don't have to pay for, effectively, a company that shields, or at least harbours amongst their ranks, pedophiles. Because the BBC has a massive issue with pedophiles. Like 100% genuinely, it's quite bizarre the amount of like infantile sex crime lovers work for them. It's mental. So we've got to talk about this because it's related to the BBC. The $1 billion will affect programmes, which will obviously tie to things like Doctor Who, and it'll just put the overall business in disarray. So I'm not really talking about the politics of it, okay? We're talking about mainstream media. We're talking about a company. It's quite important, you know? The BBC is a huge thing in the UK. So as much as it looks like politics, it's not. But this came out just now, today. Donald Trump says he has an obligation to sue the BBC. Now, what's he going to sue them for? What is it? It was actually something that they've already admitted fault to. And what that was the interesting edit of his January 6th speech to make it look like, this will rile people up, I know, to make it look like he said, quote, and we're going to march on the Capitol and we're going to fight like hell or something like that, right? Paraphrasing. Now, obviously, that isn't what was said. There was a length of time between all of that, about an hour. And the BBC, who is renowned for lying, okay, so this isn't like a great grand conspiracy theory. They literally lie all the time. All the time. They have a habitual problem with lying. It's just permeated through their very being. Yeah, they edited all that together. So he's like, well, I mean, that could be classified as election interference because they edited that and released it as part of a program for a line of programming called Panorama and released it shortly before the election. So could be deemed election interference. Now, they've already admitted wrongdoing. So it's not up for debate whether what they did was right or wrong. They have admitted fault. They've said, yeah, we shouldn't do that. In fact, the Director General and someone else high up in the BBC have resigned because of this, which has never happened before. But the latest is he has an obligation to sue, which is fascinating. So, as the deadline looms for the BBC to respond to Donald Trump's $1 billion legal threat, the President of the United States has spoken out for the first time on the saga that has seen the BBC Director General and news boss both resign. So Trump was pulling no punches last night on Fox News, saying he has an obligation to sue the UK's public broadcaster, as you can't allow people to do that, which you can't. You know, I'm not going to lose any sleep over the BBC being sued. I don't care. They're dreadful. They push propaganda. I think they're garbage. And also, in the UK, we have these things called freedom of information requests, which means you can apply for information that should be publicly available. Basically, like how your money's spent and what does the government do and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, Freedom of Information Request has revealed that the government pushes propaganda, which we all knew anyway, through TV channels, the BBC being one of them. So I'm not going to lose any sleep over the BBC being sued to oblivion. I don't care. Their time has come. Less and less people are paying for a TV license because they don't offer what people want to watch, right? They are just purely partisan. They're garbage. And if they went to a subscription model, they would die on their ass because people don't like them. So I don't care if they get sued. Anyway, he says, I have to. Why not? They defrauded the public and have admitted it at their top echelon, which they have. So Trump said the BBC had butchered his January 6, 2021 speech, which the BBC has now admitted was edited and spliced together to make it appear as if he was inciting a riot. So it's not up for debate whether they did right or wrong. They've admitted that that is what they tried to do. And that was in the Panorama documentary titled Trump, A Second Chance. Trump said, a beautiful, calming speech had been made to sound radical. The BBC has put the edit down to BBC News, wanting its audience to better understand how Trump's speech was being received by his own supporters. That explanation is not really washed. I mean, that is nonsense, isn't it? We're gonna edit this to make you guys who hate Trump see how his speech was being received by his supporters, even though they don't think, like the majority of his supporters don't think that was the case, and it's the left wingers that think that that's what he said. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so Trump's legal team has given the BBC until Friday to respond to its $1 billion legal threat, demanding an apology and full retraction. However, legal commentators have given short shrift to the chance of Trump making anywhere near that sum. Yeah, he probably won't, but you don't go in a lowball a lawsuit. You go in high. So that's not a stretch, is it? Like we all know that that's not what he's going to get. So he's suing in Florida, which has liberal libel laws, and the documentary wasn't actually available in America, but only came to his attention last week following the scandal that has engulfed the British national broadcaster. Many commentators have said the BBC would probably win if it goes forward. Well, no, because they've already admitted fault. So no, that's not likely to be the case, actually. But the corporation would want to avoid such a public battle or a settlement. Trump has recently struck high-profile settlements with CBS and ABC News, and this action would be his first outside the US on this particular crusade. The fact that people think that that the BBC would win is mental. They've admitted fault. So no. And it's just going mental, right? This goes to show how the shit show that is the BBC. The producer behind the edit was kept in the dark. They had no idea, apparently. A production company attached to the controversial Donald Trump panorama only found out that it was about to cause one of the biggest crises to befall the BBC this decade when they read about it in the papers last week. I mean, this is mental, isn't it? What a shit show. You can tell why people just don't watch mainstream news anymore or watch these programs anymore. What a joke. October Films, was in production on a Nigel Farage Reform documentary. Reform has now stopped working with them, so no. And that's because of the Trump scandal. No politician should work with, like, this is left wing and right wing. No politician should work with mainstream media. They're not your friends. They're not your friends at all. At all. But yeah, so October and the BBC developed the idea jointly, and most of the people who worked on the documentary were BBC staffers. So Deadline understands that the October executives who worked on Trump, A Second Chance discovered it had been the cause of internal BBC warfare only when the excoriating Michael Prescott memo was leaked to the Telegraph a few days ago. They were unaware that the edit had been discussed at length twice by the BBC's Editorial Guidance and Standards Committee, once in January 2025 and once in May. And were not informed by the BBC that the story had leaked to the press. Deadline also learns that October executive producer who worked on the show, Neil Breakwell, or the editor, was never even aware that the footage had been spliced together in such a way that it was made to appear Trump was inciting his followers to fight like hell. So that decision was made by the BBC's in-house producer-director. I mean, they've really fucked it, haven't they? That person made the edit prior to the documentary being shown to executive producers Breakwell and the BBC's Leo Telling. When they were first shown the footage before the show premiered in October 2024, we understand Breakwell and Telling were not informed of the changes that had been made. I mean, that's mental, isn't it? I mean, look. No matter what side of the aisle you sit on, we can all hate the mainstream media, can't we? BBC Trump crisis. Leaked message reveals how staff used town hall to vent rage at board. Mental. And then you got this dipshit. She is a dipshit. Lisa Nandy. IQ of an amoeba. The culture secretary blasts fellow politicians for launching a sustained attack on the BBC. Oh, yes, we must save our propaganda arm. Shut up, you absolute retard. The UK's culture secretary has given her full-throated backing to the BBC. Yeah, I bet you do. Amid the Donald Trump editing crisis, criticising fellow politicians for launching a sustained attack on the corporation. Lisa Nandy's statement to Parliament on the BBC has been expected all day. This was like a few days ago now, 2 days ago, 1 day ago. But she was not expected to swing so proudly. So she said this. The concerns are serious in and of themselves, but some in this house have gone even further, suggesting that the BBC is institutionally biased. Well, I mean, if something keeps happening time and time again, one may rightly presume that there is a bias there institutionally. Especially when the BBC hires near exclusively London lovies to work there, who are near exclusively left-wing. There would be a near exclusive left-wing bias there. I mean, so that's an institutional bias. This isn't rocket science. The fact that everyone's like, oh, they're not actually biased. Shut up. Shut up. Obviously they're biased. Like, same as GB News is obviously biased. Same as Fox is obviously biased. Yeah, they're obviously biased. And that's okay. Stop trying to, stop smearing chocolate on my, shit in my face and telling me it's chocolate. Stop. Alright? I can tell it's shit. It's not chocolate. Anyway, whatever. So, it should not be lost on us that the BBC has faced criticism from all sides, being accused of giving too much airtime to some parties and for giving others too little. There's a fundamental difference between raising serious concerns for editorial failings and members of this house launching a sustained attack on the institution itself. But you do have massive problems. They had like an issue with like watering down Hamas stuff not too long ago. I mean, they've got problems. They've got problems. Mental. Anyway, I don't know. Like, they're like, oh, the BBC is a light on the hill. It's a national institution. Yeah, can we not, though? Can we not? These national institutions are fucking dreadful. No one likes them. They're terrible. Because it's what you want for the nation. Disgusting, like, multi-culty shithole. No, go away, man. Apparently, it projects British values. You don't even know what British values are. The BBC pushes such rank propaganda about telling everyone that they must pay bloody reparations, slavery nonsense crap, whilst also trying to tell me that black people have always lived in England. So who's paying reparations then? Are black people paying reparations for other black people, are they? So they're not actually British then, are they? Obviously. Such nonsense crap. Anyway, whatever. I don't have much else to say. This is clear nonsense. And I genuinely do hope that Trump does sue the BBC, just because it would be hilarious. I don't pay the license. I'm never going to. I don't need to. So it won't affect me in the slightest. And they can crash and burn for all I care.